Here's your recap for The Young and the Restless episode, Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. Kyle and Audra continued their intense sparring at the Jazz Lounge. Things got even uglier when Kyle told her that Nate left her in the dust. "Like Claire dusted you?" Audra shot back. Kyle gave as good as he got when he told Audra that she had no family and had never been married. Audra called Kyle weak and spoiled, and now he was in the process of losing Claire to Holden. As this tirade was going back and forth, Jack and Diane entered the lounge. Audra stood up and reminded Kyle that he was on her bed with nothing but a towel between them. He told her to shut up. Jack said to turn it down a notch or 10. Audra called Kyle pathetic because his daddy had come to his rescue. Audra suggested to Diane that she keep her son away from her as Jack took Kyle away. Diane said she wasn't going to make a scene, as Audra had already done that. Sally tried to intervene. Diane said that she was sorry that Abbott Communications was gone, but she wasn't sorry that Audra was out of work. Audra claimed that this drama was all Kyle's fault. She said she'd always defend herself. Diane pointed out that Audra had lost everything. Audra said Kyle's not the golden child that Diane claims he is. Audra noted that Kyle approached her. She said that she was going to apologize to him, and Diane could verify that with Sally if she wanted to do so. Sally said Audra had regrets. Audra said that Kyle moons all over town about Claire, but when he kissed her in France, Claire was the last person on his mind. She wondered what kind of person could be that twisted and hastened to observe, "Oh, of course, Mommy." Audra informed Diane that Tucker told her all about Diane. Audra revealed to Sally that Diane faked her death after so many people in Genoa City wanted her dead. Diane maintained that she owned her past. "Game recognizes game," Diane told Audra as to why she felt justified in calling her out. Diane said Audra wants Kyle for herself, but she will never ever have him. Meanwhile, Jack told Kyle to drink some coffee. Kyle said he needed to help his mother. Jack advised Kyle against provoking Audra. Kyle assured his father that he was sober, or at least on his way to being sober. Diane joined her husband and son. Jack informed Kyle that Billy had declared war against Kane. Just then, Sally appeared, having overheard Jack's remark. Meanwhile, Billy was talking to an unknown person on his phone while in Chancellor Park. He hung up and declared he wasn't done with Ashby yet. Back at the Jazz Lounge, a stunned Sally and Audra returned to their table. Sally reminded Audra that they agreed not to let men rule their actions. She said that fighting with Kyle was beneath her. Audra said it felt good. Sally said she understood going after Kyle, but why would Audra go after Diane? Audra said everything she said to Diane was true. She felt that Diane was trying to make up for the years she was away. Audra pointed out that if someone strikes, she will strike back. Sally picked up her phone. It was Billy. She asked him if it was true that he was going after Kane. He advised her not to make rash moves. An incredulous Sally asked Billy if he had looked in a mirror lately. Audra wanted to know what Billy said. Sally said that Billy advised her not to do anything rash. Audra suggested ordering another round. Sally shared that Billy wanted to meet with her, and he seemed genuinely sorry. Audra said that Billy's endgame was to get Sally back right where he wanted her as his trusted sidekick. Sally said that wasn't fair. Audra said that Billy would drag Sally down with him. Kyle asked his parents when Billy turned on Kane. Jack explained that Kane dumped Billy, and now he's on the outs with the billionaire. Diane and Kyle pointed out that Billy could change his mind tomorrow about going after Kane. Jack said he's worried about Kane manipulating Billy. Jack believed they needed to form a united front to protect Jabot from Kane. Jack told Kyle that Kane's secret weapon is an AI program that could hurt a company financially. Jack said they need to take the threat seriously. Kyle asked if there was confirmation that Kane truly had the software. Diane and Jack believed he did. Jack said there could be no room for error. Diane said Jack is concerned that Billy will lash out at Kane. Kyle said he enjoyed not being the target of his parents' judgment. Diane hoped that Billy had seen the light. Jack said he didn't know who was the bigger wildcard, Billy or Kane. Diane advised that they should rein Billy in before it's too late. Meanwhile, Sally met with Billy at Chancellor Park. She said that she wanted to see Jack and Diane, and she told them everything. Billy shared that he got caught up in all the wrong stuff, and he lost his focus. Sally wondered what caused this grand epiphany. Billy told Sally that she was right, adding that any deal he had with Kane was off. Sally said she couldn't trust that. Billy said Kane wasn't going to give him what he wanted or needed. Sally asked if he knew what that was. Billy said it was Sally, and he asked for forgiveness. Sally said she was done being manipulated. Sally pointed out that Billy said that Jack pulled his funding, but that was a lie. She noted that Billy had a blackmail scheme, even though she objected to it. "I'm sorry," Billy noted. Sally maintained that she was mad at herself. She threw everything that she had away after Billy fed her a little sweet talk. "Let me try and get this back on track," Billy said. Billy said Kane was a liar and he needed to be stopped. Sally observed that Billy was trading one obsession for another. She had one question: how does going up against Kane get them back on track? Billy said Kane's the reason things fell apart between them. Sally pointed out that Billy did that, not Kane. Meanwhile, Michael treated Lauren to a private dinner at Society. Lauren commented that Michael usually does grand gestures like this when he's done something to tick her off. Michael popped open a bottle of champagne and told Lauren he was doing all this because he loved her. Lauren conceded that Michael was very romantic, but that he had a track record for softening her up. "To my gorgeous, magnificent wife, even if she does know how to spoil a mood," Michael said as he toasted his wife. Lauren complimented Michael on his choice of champagne. He quipped that it only cost him $1.50. Michael mentioned that if Gloria had raised her, she'd be thrifty too. Lauren and Michael danced. He asked her what Chris thought of her wedding dresses. Lauren said Chris was going to try to wear all of them. Michael called his wife a fashion genius. Lauren admitted that flattery worked on her. Lauren theorized that Michael did something that he knew she would not like. Lauren asked Michael what he's been up to. She said it's not an unfair question. Michael replied that it wasn't an interesting question. Michael played music instead of answering Lauren's questions. He asked Lauren to dance again. "It's Victor, isn't it?" Lauren asked. She suspected that Michael was afraid to tell her that Victor was luring him back to work. Lauren reminded Michael that his work for Victor put him in a Peruvian jail. Lauren begged Michael to tell her that they weren't going backwards. Michael assured Lauren that Victor wasn't luring him away to anything. Lauren said that she would not be able to forgive Michael if he were lying to her. Michael vowed that he wanted nothing to come between him and Lauren. She circled back to her original question. Where was he and what was he doing? Before he could answer, Michael's phone rang. He refused to answer it. Michael called her bluff and showed his wife his phone. "It's Fen!" Lauren exclaimed over the fact that her son was calling. Michael and Lauren wrapped up their call. Michael told Fenmore to give Trey their love. Lauren said it felt like forever since they chatted. She missed the days he used to call with all kinds of questions. Lauren asked Michael if he had planned for Fen to call. She gave Michael one last chance to be honest with her. "Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, September 26th, reveal that Kane Ashby will ditch an ally while Michael Baldwin faces his next dilemma. Nikki Newman will also react to a curveball, so let's talk about what's coming up in Genoa City. Following Kane's decision to turn down Victor Newman's latest offer, Jack Abbott will push the mustache for a meeting. That should lead to Jack pitching the idea of a mutually beneficial partnership, one that could totally sink Kane. Victor may wonder why he should trust Jack, but Jack may point out that he has no reason to trust Victor either. However, Jack and Victor do have a common enemy that they'd stand a much better chance of defeating if they joined forces. Victor will mull over a potential truce with Jack, since there's no denying they'd be more powerful as a team. This alliance may be what it'll take to go up against Kane, so Jack and Victor will likely shake on a deal soon enough. As for Nikki, she'll be thrown for a loop when she gets updates on Jack and Victor coming together against Kane. Nikki may think that's good news in some ways, but she might also worry about the potential for this partnership to go horribly wrong. Over with Kane, Y&R spoilers say he'll decide it's time to ditch an ally. Despite the little show Michael and Victor put on for Kane's benefit, could he suspect they're actually in cahoots? It's possible Kane will fire Michael if he has a hunch about him reporting back to his old boss. That could bring a new dilemma for Michael and leave him scrambling to save his chance to sabotage Kane's plans. Of course, it's also possible that Kane will ditch a different ally instead. Kane is always full of surprises, so it'll be interesting to see what wildcard move he makes next. Regardless, Michael will remain in a tight spot any way you slice it. Even if Michael continues working for Kane, he'll have to make illegal power plays and keep Lauren Baldwin in the dark about his Victor reporting. The Young and the Restless spoilers say there's more corporate chaos in the works, so stick with the CBS soap. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that there'll be some backstabber outrage, a detective who digs deep, and an ex-wife's reason to believe. Some great stuff is coming up in Genoa City, so let's discuss some exciting story developments that are in the works. First, we should address a dangerous alliance that's set to form between Jack Abbott and Victor Newman. It's a nice change of pace for Victor and Jack to be on the same side, especially after all the clashing they've done in recent months. Although Jack and Victor will come together in their fight against Kane Ashby, the peace won't last. Y&R fans can expect a backstabber blow sooner or later, so Victor may strike first against Jack and break the truce. That could lead to Jack striking back as this partnership dissolves into an even worse version of their feud down the road. October will kick off an exciting storyline in Los Angeles that's sure to bring a lot of puzzle pieces. Noah Newman will get in over his head and need his parents to bail him out of trouble, so Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will do their part to help him. However, the police will ultimately get involved, so that'll lead to Matt Cohen's debut as the handsome and inquisitive Detective Burrow. Although Sharon and Nick will play big roles in Noah's rescue, Detective Burrow will no doubt be a crucial key player as well. Sienna Bacall and Roger Howarth's character could be the criminals of this upcoming hot plot, so stay tuned for updates on Detective Burrow's potential attempt to take them down. Y&R fans know Lily Winters keeps insisting that a reunion with Kane is never going to happen. However, never is an awfully long time, especially on soaps. The more Lily tries to convince herself that she's done with Kane for good, the more likely it becomes that she'll open her heart to him again. That said, Kane can't keep pursuing selfish goals and plotting destruction if he ever hopes to win Lily back. Despite Phyllis Summers' efforts to bring out Kane's worst impulses and qualities, Lily will focus on the best of him instead. Lily sometimes sees glimpses of the man she used to love when she looks in Kane's eyes. It's just a matter of truly connecting with that man and convincing Kane to completely turn from his power-craving Aristotle Dumas tendencies. Giving Kane a real wake-up call won't be an easy task. Nevertheless, true love is still possible for Lily and Kane, so the show will give Lily a reason to fight for it at some point. The Young and the Restless spoilers say these storylines will deliver plenty of jaw-dropping news and intense conflict, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, September 25th, reveals that Jack Abbott's Victor Newman alliance will spark panic, while Sally Spectra demands Billy Abbott's choice. At the Abbott mansion, Jack will fret over not being able to trust Billy to stay on the right path and avoid burning everything down. Diane Jenkins Abbott will suggest leaning into the family legacy angle and helping Billy see that they have to protect what John Abbott built. Kyle Abbott will also talk about calling an emergency meeting with the chief technology officer to shore up all their systems. While Kyle's doing that, Jack will plan on doing something he never thought he'd have to do: team up with the Mustache. Diane and Kyle will think that's a mistake since Victor's such a backstabber, but Jack will push for some trust and will argue that he knows what he's doing. In the park on Thursday's Y&R episode, Sally will rant about being collateral damage in Billy's selfish revenge quest. Sally will understand why Billy was upset about what happened with Jill Abbott, but she'll feel like he has to let it go. After Sally pushes Billy to choose between Chancellor and her, he'll hesitate and leave her upset. Sally will feel like that tells her all she needs to know, but Billy will insist she's everything and that he wants a future with her in it. Billy will tell Sally that he loves her, so she'll reply that she loves him too. Although Billy will choose Sally, he'll still hint about them getting everything they want. At Society, Lauren Fenmore Baldwin will get updates on Michael Baldwin becoming Kane Ashby's fixer with the goal of sabotaging his Genoa City takeover plans. Lauren will feel like Michael has traded one dangerous job for another and will ultimately compare Kane to a younger Victor. Michael will laugh off that comparison and act like he can handle Kane, but Lauren will remain on edge. Nevertheless, Lauren will decide to stand down as long as there are no more secrets between them. Lauren will also be relieved Michael isn't working for Victor like she feared, so he'll keep quiet about the fact that he's reporting to Victor with inside information. On Kane's train, Victor will show up with a reminder about his blackmail threat, but Kane still won't have a decision for him. However, Victor will apply more pressure and insist they'll move forward with attacking Jabot tomorrow. If Kane doesn't do what he wants, Victor will remind him that he could expose Colin Atkinson's dirty money and ruin his reputation. Victor will suggest that would make it difficult for Kane to patch things up with the twins. Kane will wonder what else he'd get out of this, so Victor will admit Kane would get to keep his Arabesque empire and Jabot once they steal control. Although Kane will be intrigued over Victor sweetening the pot, he'll want one more thing from him. Kane will push for Victor's promise that he'll use Newman Media for a Colin redemption story and play up his generosity toward the end of his life. Victor will consider it, but he won't think Kane's in any position to negotiate. Kane will still want some time to think about this deal, but Victor will warn that the offer will go away once he leaves. When Michael shows up, Victor will play dumb and ask what he's doing there. Michael will claim that Kane offered him a job and that he's considering it, so Victor will act like Michael's a traitor. Victor will push for Kane's answer regarding their agreement, but Kane will need until morning to decide. Since Victor won't give Kane that, Kane will insist his answer is no. Victor will glare at Kane as he wishes him luck and ends their meeting. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor will make some bold moves against Kane soon, so stay tuned for any troubling news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that a new shakeup behind the scenes will affect the writing and production of the show. Let's talk about what it means for Josh Griffith's future. Griffith currently serves as both the executive producer and the head writer of the CBS soap, so he's got a lot to juggle on any given day. Considering all the work Griffith has to pour into Genoa City, it's easy to see why he might need some help. Fortunately, help has indeed arrived in the form of Sally McDonald, who's been named a co-executive producer to work alongside Griffith in his executive producer role. You may recognize McDonald's name since she's been a director at Y&R for many years. McDonald is a former production supervisor as well, so she knows her way around the CBS soap and will no doubt provide some great assistance following her promotion. As for what this means for Josh Griffith, Soap Opera Network's sources say that he will be leaning more into the writing side of his duties. With McDonald there to support him in a co-executive producer capacity, that'll free up time for Griffith to focus on crafting stories and delivering new directions for the characters we've come to love. There have certainly been plenty of complaints on social media about all the boring business drama and the slow pacing of the show overall. Perhaps having Griffith concentrate a bit more on the writing end of things will help with that. Of course, it's interesting that the show's making this change and might be a sign that additional changes are brewing. Could Griffith's writing job be in jeopardy if this shift in focus doesn't pay off? We'll have to wait and see, but many fans are hoping to see some shifts happen on screen. The show could use a jolt of excitement, but we at least know one of those is coming through a dangerous Los Angeles noir story this October. That's something to look forward to, along with whatever Josh Griffith might come up with next. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some other behind-the-scenes shakeups could be looming, so we'll give you updates on any other important news to come. Sally Spectra on Young and Restless had quite a history before she even got to Genoa City. The character first appeared on Bold and Beautiful in January 2017 and already had quite a legacy. Actress Courtney Hope originated the role on B&B and announced she was exiting the soap in August 2020. However, by October of that year, it was revealed that Sally was headed over to Y&R, where she continues bringing the drama to this day. Sally was named after her great-aunt, Sally Spectra. The two women have much in common, from their red hair and fashion sense all the way down to their outsized personalities and desire to make the Spectra name famous. Sally promised her great-aunt she would bring Spectra fashions back to life and enlisted the help of her grandmother, Shirley, as well as Saul Feinberg II and Arleta. After convincing C.J. Garrison not to sell the building to Bill Spencer as planned, Sally was given 6 months to prove herself. She kicked things off with a bang, starting a food fight with Steffi Forrester and filming it for a viral video, then crashed Zenda Forrester's wedding. Although she wasn't crazy about the plan to have her sister Coco Spectra work as an intern at Forrester and unwittingly wear a necklace with a camera in it to photograph and steal their designs. When Thomas Forrester invited Sally to Steffi's Australian wedding, she happily attended, but balked when Shirley ordered her to take photos they could use against them. Sally was nervous about putting their stolen designs into production, but she lost faith in her own design abilities and went ahead with it. Unfortunately, she was then forced to confess to grand larceny to save Coco and nearly went to prison until Thomas testified on her behalf at her hearing. Thomas also invested in her company to keep CJ from selling the building back to Bill so he could demolish it and build his skyscraper. Thomas also joined Sally as a designer, and they created a swimwear line to compete with Forrester in Monaco. Unaware that Bill had orchestrated the lie, Sally sadly let Thomas return to New York with Caroline and their son when she claimed to be dying. She found a shoulder to cry on in Liam Spencer, who offered more than emotional support when he took over at Spencer and offered ownership of the building back to her. Having gotten through a minor fire, Sally took out a loan and began to rebuild Spectra Fashions from the ground up. When it turned out Bill still owned the building, Liam joined the Spectras for a protest and was trapped in the rubble with Sally when Bill demolished the building, believing everyone was out. Fearing they were going to die, Sally confessed she'd fallen for him, and they shared a kiss. After their rescue, Sally refused Bill's attempts to make nice and was devastated when Liam reconciled with Steffi after confessing to the kiss. Thomas, having learned the truth about Caroline's deceit and Bill's part in it, returned to Los Angeles and joined Sally as one of the prime suspects when Bill was shot and nearly killed. After getting back together with Thomas, they took off, but she eventually returned to reveal that her beau had reunited with Caroline again. She and Wyatt Spencer got drunk together and started an unlikely new relationship. Wyatt helped get Sally hired at Forrester and later tried to help her advance her career by relaunching Spectra Fashions under the Spencer umbrella. Sally turned that down, and then things got even worse when Wyatt's ex, Florence Fulton, came to town, and he was drawn right back to the blonde, leaving Sally single again. After Flo's part in the heartbreaking baby switch was exposed, Wyatt dumped her and went running back to Sally. She took him back, and although she wanted to take things slow, she accepted when he proposed to her. Things were going okay until Sally accidentally called Wyatt by Liam's name, which made him question her feelings for him. And the redhead was doing fine at Forrester until her sketches for the fashion showdown disappointed Ridge and Steffi, and her fears over being fired led to a full-on panic attack. After Wyatt dumped her to go back to Flo, Sally confronted the blonde, which led to her feeling lightheaded and shaking uncontrollably. Concerned, she went to the hospital for tests, where she ran into Katie Logan. Sally confided her fears to Katie, who was there when she received the devastating diagnosis. Informed she didn't have long to live, Sally broke down, but Katie urged her not to give up and get a second opinion to fight for her life. Although Sally asked Katie not to tell anyone, she quickly told Bill and Wyatt, and later Ridge and Steffi, so they wouldn't fire the dying woman. Sally was also relieved when Wyatt came back to her, claiming problems with Flo, not realizing that Flo had urged him to make Sally's remaining days as happy as possible. When Dr. Escobar tried to contact Sally to tell her she was handling her situation all wrong, the redhead dismissed her. When Sally finally admitted to Wyatt that she was dying, she realized that Katie had already told him. But after Dr. Escobar made a house call to talk to her patient, it was revealed that the entire thing was all an elaborate charade Sally had concocted to get Wyatt back. The doc has tried to insist Sally come clean, but the redhead refuses to stop until she gets Wyatt away from Flo. Sally continued to try to sink her claws into Wyatt, But when Flo discovered the truth, the redhead panicked. After Dr. Escobar knocked Flo out to keep her from telling Wyatt the truth, Sally tried tying her up in her apartment so she could seduce Wyatt and get pregnant with his child, tying them together forever. But during a struggle, Sally fell and was knocked unconscious just long enough for Flo to write "Help me" on her underwear, so when Sally tried to strip down for Wyatt, the jig was up. As her plan collapsed around her, Sally tried to explain her motives to Wyatt and beg forgiveness. But then she suddenly collapsed. Rushed to the hospital, Sally was diagnosed with severe stress and attempted to persuade Wyatt to forgive her. He agreed not to press criminal charges, but urged her to go away. In November 2020, Sally relocated to Genoa City, where she hoped to land a big job at Jabot, but had to settle for working as Lauren Fenmore's assistant. She found a new partner in crime in Theo Vanderway, and they tried to help each other get ahead with the Abbott family. Sally clashed with Kyle Abbott, and especially Summer Newman, but soon found herself growing close to Jack Abbott. Summer and Kyle Seichel went to LA to dig up dirt on Sally's past, but she was armed with Theo's information about Kyle's affair with a married woman in NYC, so the rivals reached a stalemate. But Summer's mother, Phyllis Summers, had it out for Sally as well and warned Jack to stay away from her. Fearing someone else would reveal her scandalous past, Sally finally came clean to Jack, who naturally put the brakes on their budding relationship. Determined to get Summer out of town, Sally spoke with Ashland Locke and offered him information in exchange for his helping to get Summer a job at an Italian fashion house. Unfortunately, the man who was to make the decision about that job turned out to be Eric Forrester. Once Sally's role in driving Summer out of town was exposed, Lauren fired her and Jack wanted nothing to do with her. Chloe Mitchell befriended her and offered her a role with Newman Media's fashion platform. She also gave Sally a warning about Adam Newman, but the redhead didn't listen and pursued a romance with the guy. Sally's plan to secretly design Victoria Newman's wedding dress turned out in her favor, but Lauren was furious that they'd switched dresses on her. Sally not only clashed with Phyllis, but butted heads constantly with Chelsea. When Chelsea and Chloe started their own fashion business and left Sally out in the cold, Adam hired her to work with him as Newman Media's COO. After struggling to keep their relationship strictly business, Sally and Adam finally gave in to pleasure and had sex. They also supported each other as Victoria and Ashland's split plunged Newman Locke into chaos. When Victor named Adam CEO of Newman, Sally was promoted to CEO of Newman Media. However, when Victoria returned to take over the family business again, Adam was out on his ear, and Sally worried about her job as well. She managed to convince Victoria to let her prove herself and went through with her plan to hire Chloe as her COO. However, she was devastated when Adam dumped her, so he wouldn't drag her down with him. Sally earned Nick Newman's trust when she declined to publish the true story about Ashland's death, and after he stopped Victoria from firing the redhead, Nick and Sally had sex in the office. The pair found themselves drawn to each other and decided not to define their relationship, but just have fun together. Victoria eventually forced Nick to fire Sally, and she declined Nick's offer of money to start her own fashion house, opting to stand on her own. She decided to start a design business and enlisted Chloe to work with her. Adam tried to win Sally back, but while she decided she was going to stay with Nick, they ended up sleeping together as a kind of final farewell. So when Sally discovered she was pregnant, she didn't know who the baby daddy was. Nick was disappointed when the DNA test revealed Adam to be the child's father, but stood by Sally throughout her difficult pregnancy. Sally worried when she learned she was suffering from preeclampsia, and unfortunately, the baby was stillborn, leaving her and Adam both heartbroken. Sally pushed Nick away after the loss of little Ava, but she soon accepted his support as she recovered. When she considered Victor's office to run a design firm under the Newman umbrella, Chloe warned her pal that if she accepted it, she was out. Not that it mattered, because when Sally tried to accept, Victor told her the deal was off. So she reluctantly accepted Nick's offer to fund her new interior design business under the condition that he remained a silent investor. After Sally and Adam shared a kiss, they tried to pretend it didn't happen, but he hoped she was falling back in love with him. Sally confessed the kiss to Nick, who was worried, but she insisted she was falling in love with him now. Still, Nick broke up with her, and she found herself drawn back to Adam. When she involved Chloe in designing Daniel Romalatti's new apartment, Chloe left Marchetti to work with her friend again. Chloe tried to push Nick and Sally back together again, but Sally was head over heels for Adam again. Sally and Adam rang in 224 together and celebrated their future. She and Nick agreed to remain friends, and she also found a new gal pal in Audra Charles upon realizing that they had a lot in common. Sally felt terrible when her business failed, but Nick assured her not all investments work out. With Chelsea on a leave of absence, Summer reluctantly hired Sally to work at Marchetti on a trial basis. But they were surprised at how well they worked together, and Sally even convinced Sally to give Chloe a shot too. Sally moved in with Adam, but struggled to support him, as he and Chelsea dealt with Connor's OCD. She and Billy began to grow suspicious of the growing bond between Adam and Chelsea. And Adam felt awful after realizing he'd left Sally to mourn the anniversary of their daughter's death alone. Sally and Billy both pressed for answers, but while Chelsea eventually caved and told Billy everything, Adam continued lying to Sally's face. So when Billy confronted Adam about sleeping with Chelsea, Sally was heartbroken and lashed out at him before walking out. She also rebuffed his attempts to apologize and reconcile. Sally found support from gal pals Chloe and Audra, but also from Billy as they commiserated over the joint betrayal. She even agreed to decorate his new apartment for him. The friendship deepened as Billy and Sally got drunk together and shared a kiss, later agreeing that it was good it didn't go further than that. But as time passed and they shared more and more about themselves with each other, the relationship deepened, and they did eventually sleep together. As 2025 began, Sally invited Billy to accompany her on a work trip to Paris, though their good time was frequently interrupted by Phyllis calling Billy about business. She agreed to come work with him at Abbott Communications, but postponed the launch of the media company while they traveled to meet the mysterious Aristotle Dumas at his chateau in France. When the tycoon revealed himself as Cain Ashby, things began to derail as he enlisted Billy to come work for him. Sally agreed to head up Abbott Communications on her own, but she was upset when their big launch party was canceled by Cain, and Billy continued to be obsessed with using Ashby to get control of Chancellor back. Feeling she was no longer the priority to Billy, she decided to walk away. Claire admitted to Victoria that she's intentionally pushing Kyle away. Now, she's using Holden to make him jealous, but these mind games could cause Kyle to walk away for good on The Young and the Restless. Playing a dangerous game, some Y&R fans want Claire to get over Kyle's betrayal. There are also others who think Kyle is acting angry for a man who was willing to take the bait in Nice. He made out with Audra in his room while he was nearly naked. As a result, Claire and Kyle's relationship is at a standstill. She's not sure whether she can trust him, but this reveal has her seeing him in a new light. Kyle claimed he was only protecting Claire, but his actions still hurt her. Claire wants to trust Kyle again, but this decision has weighed on her. She told Kyle that she needed time, but in the meantime, she wants to make him jealous by hanging out with Holden, getting under his skin. Claire revealed to Victoria that Holden has gotten under her skin. Claire's now wondering if she should settle down so soon in her life. Maybe she needs time and experience with someone good-looking and available. But Kyle can't wait around for her. These mind games could also send Kyle in the wrong direction. Claire brushed him off, so he went to the lounge, where he enjoyed a whiskey. Audra was there with Sally. She could tell that Kyle was numbing his pain from the fallout of his relationship. In Genoa City, danger often whispers before it screams, and the latest buzz surrounding The Young and the Restless suggests a storm is gathering around Billy Abbott. His increasingly erratic behavior, coupled with ominous warnings from his brother Jack, has fans bracing for a tragic climax. All signs are pointing toward a shocking medical emergency, with strong speculation that Billy's self-destructive path is about to end in a devastating car accident. Billy's life has always been a tightrope walk between brilliance and chaos, but lately the balance has tipped precariously. His judgment is clouded, and his relationships are strained, pushing him closer to the edge. Jack Abbott, ever the protective older brother, has been vocal about his fears, painting a picture of a man speeding down a dangerous road with no brakes. In the world of soaps, such dialogue is rarely just a metaphor. It's a narrative prophecy. The groundwork is being laid for a literal crash that could serve as the brutal manifestation of Billy's internal turmoil. The most straightforward theory involves Billy's old demons. Viewers have seen him turn to alcohol to numb his pain, a dangerous habit that could lead to a catastrophic mistake. A drunk driving incident would be a tragic, yet fitting, consequence of his refusal to heed the warnings of those who love him. It would be a cautionary tale of a man who couldn't outrun his own impulses, with the wreckage of his car mirroring the wreckage of his choices. However, a more sinister possibility is gaining traction: sabotage. What if the crash isn't entirely Billy's fault? Whispers suggest that an old rival, Kane Ashby, could be involved. Given their bitter history, it's not unthinkable that Kane might engineer a mechanical failure, tampering with Billy's brakes to settle a score. This would transform a personal tragedy into an explosive whodunit mystery, igniting an all-out war between the Abbotts and anyone connected to the crime. Jack's grief would undoubtedly turn to righteous fury, and he would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and make the culprit pay. The emotional fallout would be immense. A life-or-death crisis often strips away pretense, and a hospital bedside vigil could be the catalyst for a powerful romantic reunion. Sally Spectra, whose relationship with Billy has been fractured, would likely rush to his side. Her anguish and whispered pleas for him to wake up could reignite their passionate bond, proving that her feelings run deeper than ambition. A near-death experience could be the very thing to make Billy realize that a future with Sally is what truly matters. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that Lily Winters might witness the intense connection between Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers. Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless straight to your inbox. As this love triangle reaches its breaking point, the Y&R Fall Preview spoilers certainly refer to this as a triangle and emphasize Phyllis' fascination with Kane's Aristotle Dumas persona. Clearly, there's a part of Kane that is still attached to that former version of himself, and Phyllis is always there to encourage him. Phyllis believes that Kane should abandon his hopes of rekindling his relationship with Lily and focus instead on his ambition for dominance in Genoa City. Naturally, Phyllis might also have her own interests in Kane, given the numerous compliments she showers upon him. The playful exchanges between Kane and Phyllis could easily be interpreted as mutual flirting, making it apparent how these two could potentially blend business with pleasure at some point. Recently, after Kane invited Phyllis to dinner at Society, they encountered Tracy Abbott while they were there. Kane once dreamed of transforming his friendship with Tracy into a romantic relationship, and their interactions were a warm reflection of that desire. Phyllis was clearly disturbed by the bond they shared and appeared somewhat envious of the attention Kane was giving Tracy. This only reinforces the idea that Phyllis wants Kane's attention solely on her, rather than on any other woman. Deep down, Phyllis might be hoping to emerge as the ultimate power couple with Kane. Perhaps once they achieve all their aspirations, Phyllis believes she can claim the title of the new queen of Kane's heart, making him forget about Lily, Tracy, or anyone else. Regardless of the situation, Phyllis will keep enticing the Dumas side of Kane, and it's possible she might eventually seduce him. This could spell trouble if Lily catches Kane and Phyllis in a passionate moment. Even witnessing a kiss between them would be a significant blow for Lily, and discovering a more intimate encounter would undoubtedly escalate the situation. Phyllis has a talent for creating obstacles for Kane and Lily, so is she about to create another one? The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that a stranger danger alert may be necessary if Mariah Copeland's victim gets revenge by targeting Tessa Porter. Based on her flashbacks, Mariah used a pillow to try and smother that stranger on her business trip. It honestly looked like Mariah might have wiped that guy off the map, but she later blurted out to Tessa that she tried to kill a man. If Mariah's telling the truth and she simply tried rather than succeeded, then that stranger must still be alive. Of course, that could open the door to this mystery man targeting Tessa for revenge, especially now that she's headed to the scene of the crime. Tessa intends to dig around at the hotel where Mariah was staying, though she worried she might be walking into a sketchy situation. That probably means Tessa is indeed headed for some danger on this trip. Daniel Romalotti Jr. plans to tag along, so he'll be there to help protect Tessa and aid her investigation. Since Daniel is unemployed and mostly fills his days playing guitar, it's not like he has much going on anyway. Y&R spoilers say the whole truth about Mariah's awful, drunken night will finally come out. This storyline is building to some major revelations that are sure to rattle Tessa and leave her stunned over Mariah's actions. However, Tessa's digging could have some unanticipated consequences if she stirs up some vengeful trouble. What if Tessa and Daniel's investigation somehow puts them on the stranger's radar? That mystery man might figure out Tessa is the wife of the woman who tried to kill him. It could be enough to make Tessa a target, whether that man goes after Tessa himself or perhaps orders someone else to do his dirty work. Tessa could become a kidnapping victim or even get attacked depending on how this investigative story plays out. Mariah has been trying to keep Tessa safe and away from all the drama, so she'll panic if she gets updates on Tessa facing a dangerous ordeal. Of course, Daniel could step up and play the hero for Tessa in the coming episodes. This could be Daniel's moment to leap into action and pull Tessa out of harm's way, so that might strengthen the connection that's developed between them.